can't just put it on the internet and expect people to come. I mean, you gotta go out and work.
I'm back in the saddle again.
When I came here in 1947, this was a dude ranch.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very popular. They had a crowd all the time. And they served family-style meals.
My dad came to camp in 1951 when they opened the facility.
Brother Rory Wimmer would take gasoline and pour it down the hole and then light it. And in those days, didn't really have a poison out. There is a poison out, but there wasn't a poison available that would work on the red ants. So that's why you would use kerosene or gasoline and try to burn them out.
As a young brother being out there helping them get the place ready, it was rather primitive facilities. For example, in the big house, bathroom facilities were very primitive.
Tom Landry, you know who he was.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys used to be. They used to play football right over here in his flat.
Yeah.
And he got out there with them, and he run around. He got up early in the morning before the kids did, and run around that field about 5 or 6 times. His legs were just like arms. And then he got out there and coached them in those flats over there. And man, that was something for me. I'd go out there and watch them.
It's a place now when I think of just the people that work for me and things of that sort. It's sort of like if you think of special people, I always kind of visualize it as happy feet dancing across your heart or something that just makes you smile.
Whoopie-tie-yay, I go my way, back in the saddle again.
Tecaboca is an acronym, so it stands for the 4 words Texas Catholic Boys Camp.
I came to camp in 1974, I believe it was, 75, and I was here for 8 years as a camper, and then I worked 7 summers after that. And now my son is a 3rd generation camper. Both my brothers went here as well, so I have a long, rich history with Tecaboca.
I was a camper here for probably 5 years back in what would have been the 70s. And then I was able to come back as a camp counselor for a year in the summer when I was going to school at St. Mary's University. And I met my wife here. She was a counselor as well. Now my son is back here.
The car will pull up with some visitors in there, and the dad gets out and says, "Oh, I was a camper here back in the 50s or 60s or whatever." Without us pumping them for information, they volunteer the fact that it had such a profound effect on their lives and really changed them in very positive ways, and they were very appreciative of the summer camp experiences that they had there.
This is my 3rd year at Tecaboca, Texas Catholic Boys Camp, and I like to come back because it's just really outdoorsy, and that's what I like. And I like the sports, the competitiveness, and I like all the activities that we do and stuff.
I'm Brother Edward Locke, and I was the counselor for Patrol 1 from 1962 through 1966, and then I came back in 1971 to 1974.
The first time I set foot on the property was in the fall of 1961. I was a senior here at Central Catholic High School and went on a senior retreat there, and made another one the following spring, in the spring of '62.
My name is Brother Harry Cornell. I was director of the Boys Camp, Texas Catholic Boys Camp, between the years 1977, well, I was assistant director in 1977, and then 1978 through 1996.
Well, I first went to camp the year the province bought the property in 1951-52. And I was a student brother out at St. Mary's University, and we all went out there to help them get the property ready for its first camping season, summer of 1952.
I remember when this camp was, and lots of kids. I don't remember just how many, but there was lots of them.
160.
160?
For every week for 8 weeks.
Well, that's a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah.
Temple was, I think he was born on the property, but I know he did live in the house. His father was caretaker for the property. That house was back behind where Woodcraft is right now. Most of the time the property was unoccupied, so he, being our neighbor, knowing the property so well and having his sheep over there, kind of kept an eye on it and would call us if anything went wrong.
Do you remember when it used to, when the kids got unruly and the brothers gave them a spanking right out there, right. Put it on them.
They
All that
probably
squalling. They
learned
said,
from
now,
us.
if I hear any more of that squalling, you'll get some more. And it took care of it.
That was one of my big hikes. We would take it all morning. We got to go over to the cemetery, so we walked over to the cemetery. And so we would go up to the fish hatchery, and the people there would explain what they were doing. At that time, they were just experimenting with tilapia, which is now a common fish that we're eating. So anyway, we go to the fish hatchery, and then we go up the road to the cemetery. And I usually had a plan for Brother Frank to bring some watermelon, and I would show them the Dowdy family, and then see the shells and all the on this graveyard things. And then we would cut over to the river, and we walked down the river. And since it was going into the swimming period, they had swimming suits underneath, and so they let them swim at Big Rock. And then we continue on back, and it'll be almost time for lunch.
This is my 3rd year coming to Tecaboca, and I like to come here because it's a great spot, not just to have fun and do normal camp activities, but it gives a very good spiritual aspect that a lot of camps don't provide. And I really enjoy going to Mass every day, and I enjoy the activities, and together it's just it makes a better combined camp than others.
Our motto is Esto Vir, and Esto Vir really is about Christianity, the wholeness of a Christian man, not just a Catholic man or someone defined by the Catholic Church as how we should grow. We recognize Christianity as the wholeness that we try to grow ourselves into, and that our young men should be raised up into. So even though we are Texas Catholic Boys Camp, we have campers from all Christian denomination, as we recognize the wholeness of the Christian church.
3, 2, 1, go!
Gradually, over the years, when Brother Harry Cornell and others were the director of the Boys Camp, people wanted to use the facility on weekends. So I know for sure when Brother Harry was director, he would often drive out on a Saturday night, open the place up for a group that was using it for a retreat of some kind, and then drive back out Sunday afternoon to close the place up while he was teaching full-time here at Central Catholic besides.
When the number of Marianists available to direct the property kind of dried up, the province was kind of on the fence as to whether to sell the property or develop it in some way. Maybe the Spirit was guiding us, but really try to develop the property as a retreat center has been a very positive thing.
By the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save.
When the young man, Jimmy Blevins, was killed in an automobile accident in Houston, and he had been a camper there and was slated to be a counselor, his family put up some money for Aaron to make that cross as a memorial to him.
Whom shall I send?
Jimmy always felt that he was in God's arms when he was out at that particular spot.
Erin always comes up with great ideas, and I just thought that was one of her greatest, and just her work on the chapel also.
There's literally blood, sweat, and tears.
That's what it is. I mean, just the power behind it, or the strength that it takes to do that.
I will set a feast for them.
This turned out to be a kind of an icon on the property and a place where prayer groups meet.
Bread I will.
We had lunch, and then after lunch was the rest period. The nickname was FOB, feet on bed, flat on back.
It's something that you can't keep to yourself. You have to share it with others.
Tecaboca has always tried to remain a simple and rustic place. And I think that's part of the influence of the Spirit of God on people who come to Tecaboca.
You meet a lot of nice people that could end up being friends for a long time.
In the evening here, they would go riding around, see how many deer they could see.
Yeah.
Sometimes would see as many as 100.
It is a family experience, and everybody that works there comes as a camper, comes on spiritual retreats, whatever it is, they're part of the Tecaboca family.
A lot of people view going across the dam onto the property as kind of crossing the Jordan into a special place.
I'm very comfortable with the mission that they have today at Camp Tecaboca. I'm very proud of it as a Mariners tradition and being carried on in the Mariners tradition.
They're going into God's land when they get across that river and onto the property.